All right, so we are live, boys. Shout out to the boys. Welcome back. Hey, you are looking good on the screen real quick, but if you want to just pull up on YouTube and just make sure you're centered on your end, that might help you out.
All right. What I've noticed is
Or pull
I gotta go more to your right.
opposite, opposite right now,
I'm opposite.
or do opposite of what you just said. There you go. That's it. I think
Oh,
because
okay. See,
the screen mirroring or something.
I was under the impression it was the other way around.
It probably is, but the screen mirror flips you, I think.
So it was a one of these.
Yeah, one of those. Um, but not a big one. What's the X? What like a
Get out of here.
nah nah nah.
Get out of here.
Hey,
Time's up. Time's up.
fuck. I wish I don't want to move my camera, but shout out to MTK over my shoulder right here. He helped me. He came over this weekend. Shout out my boy. Installed a shelf for me, so we got a shelf over here. Fans can't see it right now. We might adjust something, but it's there. Shout out to MTK. I appreciate it.
In your interviews, you're gonna have it there.
Right.
Yeah.
Um.
Got
So
the little mic there. You got the little anime character.
yeah, for those that don't see, we got Brawly from Dragon Ball Z,
Oh,
and
that
then
what it is? Okay.
we got my broken $500 microphone that doesn't even fucking
Uh,
work, and that's why I just use this thing right here. All right. I'm gonna start this one off. Man, I got a little bit of a heavy heart on this one.
Okay.
And this is for real hardcore viewers, but man, I mean this ties into some stuff. So let me just get right into it. You remember last month or a couple months ago, I interviewed Max Holloway's cousin, the boxer,
The younger guy.
the young guy, yeah, talking
Yeah.
about gun violence in Hawaii, and he's directly affected with it, how to change it, right?
You got caught up.
He didn't get caught up, but it looks like, there's not much I could say, but it's all over Hawaiian news right now. And somebody with his last name, who I know he's, I think family members with, is being charged with murder,
Oof.
along with three other young men. So there's four young men. One of them is a minor, 17 years old. And, I mean, his cousin got shot in the leg, too. And he's being charged with murder. So I was watching this police report. I guess they're saying like four guys pulled up to a house in Hawaii, shot the whole place up. Apparently some guy hired them and told them to go shoot the place up because he thought his girlfriend was sleeping with somebody in that house.
Oh God.
So four guys pull up there, shoot it up, leave, but they end up getting arrested later on. One person died, three people injured. One of those three people is a 39-year-old woman. Just an innocent bystander, as if your sister was there or something. Because all these other people who were wounded were like 19 and 21.
Mm-hmm.
And, I mean, the reason why it hits deep with me is because I was talking to him, Asa Stevens. I was talking to Asa about it, you know what I mean? And here's what I gotta say. I saw something like this coming. Because, and you can relate to this.
Is he directly involved or just someone from his family's involved?
He's not involved, but let me paint the picture for you. I think you'll be able to understand. They lost two friends last year. Asa, right? And I've seen him and his teammates too. They're all like broken up over losing their friends. They on their trunks, on their boxing shorts, it says "Long Live" with their initials and shit. Like they're torn up over it. Affected the whole community.
Got you.
And if this kind of thing, like when somebody dies due to gun violence and it's in a community where they don't really go to the police for justice, it gets carried out in the streets, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I asked Asa, and I was like, hey man, like I know you lost some friends, but how do you change this narrative? Because like there's retaliations that can take place, you know what I mean? And I think people have to move on instead of just perpetuating the cycle of death. You know what I mean?
100%.
And fast forward 2 months, and somebody in his family, you know what I mean, is now caught up in some murder charge and stuff like that. And now Asa's, he maintains his family member's innocence and all this stuff. And I don't got much to say. I don't know anything. I'm just reading reports. But the biggest thing that kind of like gave me a heavy heart is just like, man, like I knew that these guys are closer to this shit than anybody else, imagines.
Yeah, and you're a product of your environment. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
As good as you want to do, and as good as you want to be when you're in that surroundings, it it still can have these type of stories and consequences. You know, sometimes you just can't run from it if your cousins are gang affiliated.
Right.
So if your family is all affiliated and has scars and like uncles getting out of prison and someone died a few years ago that's a family member, so it's always like, hey, you know, if we see him, we see him. You know,
Right.
it's on site. Like you just said, it's a vicious cycle of
Death.
yeah, death.
You know what I mean?
And when you go to the core of it, you know, it's you versus you did this to me, I did this to them, I did this to me, and it's just a toxic fucking stew. And
Yeah.
these guys you went to grade school with that are probably like right down the street.
Yeah, they live in the same city.
Yeah.
What happened? You know, it's as if like, you know, I'm trying to think of San Diego cities, but you know what I mean? Like a city within like 2 miles of each other.
Right.
They definitely went to high school with each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a it's something that's affected almost every city in every country. You know, just this
Those inner cities.
Yeah, you know, dude, you can go to fucking the smallest city. They got West Side Cribs, like, bro.
Yeah.
There's 100 people that live here.
Yeah, I'm telling you, OC, at least in like South OC, I know Anaheim's a little different. Santa Ana's a little different. That's OC. But South OC, where I'm at, it's gravy. So I don't really have those experiences.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it just kind of tears me up, man. And that what's crazy too is that, you know, this is Max Holloway's little cousin.
Yeah.
And the fact that like his family is tied up in all this stuff is just, it's wild to me. So
Yeah, it's super sad, bro. Like,
Yeah.
and a lot of times that's why, you know, people that are grown up in neighborhoods like that, they're looking for ways to get out.
And that's
You
why
know?
Asa left in our interview. He was telling me I moved to Vegas. You know, it was better for me inside the gym, outside the gym. Now
Right,
it's
well,
making sense why. There's a lot of stuff going on there.
Well, yeah, and then when you're there, bro, and you let's say, you know, you hear that story happen, it's like it's so easy, like, oh, I just rolled with them.
Mm-hmm.
It just started popping off. Like just whoa, fuck.
Right.
And sometimes you have to totally extract yourself from that environment so you don't get sucked in.
Right.
You know, and hopefully you have people like, you know, cousins like Max Holloway to be like, dude, we got to get you away from all this shit.
Yeah, definitely. Or
Don't even give you a chance to get involved.
Yeah, and I also wonder like if Max is one of those people, if he's like, shit, I'm just gonna stay away. Like this shit's crazy dangerous, you know?
When we would hope once you get to that point, I mean, he's probably, I mean, Max probably a millionaire now, right? Bought a house, has kids. Hopefully by that time in your career and your stage of your life, you've kind of moved out of all of that, you know?
Right.
So that's not, I wouldn't say a young man's game, but more of a younger man's game.
It is for sure. And because you mentioned the gang part, just want to say that like I was reading the news report and I guess they call themselves the Shark Boys. So they're like an organization, you know what I mean? These 4 guys who got caught up according to the news article. So I honestly don't know what to say. I just figured I would bring that to you because I've honestly been thinking about that shit all day. I've been seeing it. You know, they got like basically this happened, right? I'll kind of end it with this. This happened last week, about a week ago. Let me add this in too. When I was making those clips for Asa, like those shorts and stuff like that from our interview, you know, he sent me a couple pictures, right? One of the pictures of the guys he was with is one of those guys who's now being charged with murder. So that's just super tied in to me, I guess you could say, because I have this guy send me a picture, right, of him and his friends. So that's on my Instagram right now and on YouTube and stuff. If you watch that short, you will see the guy who's now being convicted of murder or charged with it. And so that's why it's just kind of a mindfuck for me. I don't have much to say because I got to respect, you know what I mean, Asa and his situation, and it's innocent until proven guilty. But my biggest thing is that's why I was asking him those questions in the interview, because that happens in LA. Like you said, it happens all throughout the world in all cities where it's this repeated violence. When one person loses somebody they love, you know what I mean? It creates a vicious cycle. And I could smell this happening. So I just hope, you know.
And think about this. Like the other day, you know that show, what is it, Another 48 Hours?
First 48 or
48, right? When you look at it, and it was interesting. It was
60
the other day.
days in.
Yeah, I was looking at it and I was like, bro, it was season 20. You know, think about that. Season 20. Oklahoma, Atlanta, down south. You know, they got like 5 or 6 cities they kind of go, go through, right? Nothing's changed.
Yeah.
Same story. Oh, so and so killed so and so because so and so killed so and so they had to retaliate. You know how it is, street justice and shit like that, bro. It's just, I
Right.
mean, year 20 of this show. You know what I mean? And think about all the stories you don't hear.
Definitely.
You know, I mean, it's just it's so sad, heartbreaking, and that's why like even in you've been talking about the conversation can help create change to someone in your audience is like maybe growing up in that and like trying to figure out a way out. Like, hey, dude, go hit a fucking UFC gym, go to wrestling in your high school. Use that same energy and put it into something positive.
Right.
There is no positive result. That's for sure.
Definitely. And it's crazy because we did talk about that in the interview, you know what I mean? And it's like he said all those things you're saying, you know what I mean? And his cousin or whoever, or his brother, I don't know exactly how he's related to him, but he commented, the one who's being charged with murder. He commented, you know what I mean, on my post. So it's just one of those ones for me, man. It's kind of crazy. I sure know how to find these fucking interviews though, don't I?
Well, yeah, it's a little bit closer to home now, right?
It does. That's why I'm just like so like kind of shook because I'm like, damn, this guy even commented on my post. So he saw my shit. He saw the stuff we were saying about like don't be getting caught up in the shit. Like the streets are dead. You know what I mean? And somebody in his family like I guess what I'm saying is my video, and not to put blame on myself, right? But it's like my video wasn't enough. You know what I mean? That's why I was putting that out there because I hate to see that shit. You know what I mean?
Some people, you're so sucked in, bro, and it's okay. It's one of those things, bro. I can have a lot of hood motherfuckers walk in here, right?
Yeah.
I could preach out to them, man, bro. Don't do this, bro. Stay out the streets. A month later, they're in jail, dog. You know what I mean? It's like because once you leave this station, this studio, you get back on in your neighborhood and shit. Everything just changes. You're there in the hood. You're back with the homies and shit. Some shit pops off, and it just like that. Like that, because it's too easy for you to run into it.
I guess so, right?
Like it's like like you're a product of your environment. If I'm living right here and there's gang activity just walking all around me and shit, and I just I could walk and go to the store and some shit starts set tripping. That's just how easy it happens. So I mean, until you completely remove yourself from those type of situations, so you don't put yourself in harm's way. I know for me, like for a long time, I had to remove myself from the neighborhood I grew up with to be like, I'm not part of this anymore. I had to literally remove myself.
Yeah. I think that's a good place to end it. And that's also like, to tie something else. And that's what Joaquin was saying when he was giving advice to SD Dumas. He's like, you gotta leave, man. You can't associate at all with the people you came up with, because that same thing's going to tear you down, unfortunately.
And I'll show you something else. I noticed times when I left, like that environment, what happens is you still go back and you still are somehow associated through your friends or family. And like I have family, bro. It's like, bro, I can't even talk to you anymore, dog. You and we don't talk the same language anymore. I'll never forget one of my cousins are like, bro, we just came up on a battery. And I'm like, a battery?
Car battery?
Yeah. I was proud about it. But I remember me being young. Oh, we just did so and so. You know what I mean? I got $100. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just being like thieving and shit, doing shit like that. And I remember at that time I was like, bro, I can't even relate to what you're saying right now. I'm doing so many other things that are on a positive level, like trying to establish my career, trying to do this, trying to do that. Like I don't even live in it. I couldn't comprehend the conversation.
You couldn't hype him up because that's what he was looking for. He wanted you to hype him up. Like, oh, hell yeah.
Hell no, I couldn't hype him up. Like, dog, you dumb, bro. Like, what the fuck we doing? Bro, I had another homeboy, bro, 25, fucking went to prison for 10 years for doing a beer run. Thank you. What do you mean how? Because he's dumb.
Wait, buying beer?
No, a beer run, stealing beer.
Oh, okay, got you.
25 years old, bro, stealing beer. When you're 16, whatever, I can give you a lot of passes when you're young. You know what I mean?
My friends used to fill up a shopping cart when we were 16, full of alcohol, full of snacks, walk right out of that bitch.
So what was Superbad? What was that show? That movie?
Superbad?
Yeah, was it Superbad? Remember they tried to like get
Oh,
the
okay.
alcohol? Yeah.
Yeah, we used to call it the cart trick.
Yeah, so like when I heard this homie, like I knew him and shit, but and I knew though he had been to prison twice and shit. So I was like, he like you can't be getting yourself in trouble. I'm like, and one of the other homies told me, he's like, bro, you heard so and so got locked up. I was like, for what? So we get a beer run. I was like, bro, man, that's on his dumb ass. You can't be doing stupid shit like that anymore. You know, I can't be associating myself with people like that anymore.
Right. It's hard to even have these conversations and all that kind of thing, right? Because they're on such a different wavelength.
And so like for him for the fight you're talking, I'm sure there are examples of people that in his life, his family, or back home that he looks at them now like, bro, I can't even relate to you anymore. You're still doing A, B, and C.
I hope so, honestly.
Well, no, it sounds like it. You know, he's in Vegas. What? He's in Vegas,
yeah, he's
right?
in Vegas.
So when you get outside of that environment and you're putting yourself in your environment with a bunch of fighters, it's a whole different conversation. Yeah, can you still do dumb shit? Can you still get involved? But it's not in the streets.
Right.
You know?
And they're not a phone call away. Right? Like, you know, we're about to go do this hit. You available? You know what I mean? You're not a phone call distance away.
But think about this. That could be as easy as like, hey, you know, they picked me up. I had no idea even what was going on. All of a sudden, people are shooting. You know when people are in jail because of shit like that?
Or people who die because they're just kicking it?
That as well, because you got, you know, collateral damage. So there's so many different angles to it, you know, especially when and it's somewhere you grew up with, especially when there's family involved, friends you grew up with. It's you got to just remove yourself from that. That's the last thing I'll say. You got to remove yourself from that situation if you don't want to be part of it anymore.
Definitely. No, I hear you on that one for sure.
I will say this on Cain Velasquez. I saw the some of the photos.
Yeah.
I'm like, these motherfuckers got a lowrider show in prison.
I know. Where the hell they staying in California?
No, I was looking at it. I was like, bro, what kind of prison show is this?
They got women in there.
Yeah, I was tripping out, bro, because like I was like, nah, this is made up. I had to do my own research. I was like, bro, what's happening right here?
That's the prison. I'm not trying to stay at, but that's the prison to stay at, right?
Well, no, I mean, evidently they're getting a little bit more a car show in prison. It blew my mind, bro. I was like, hey, but I think he's more at a relaxed prison where it's not so like they're getting a little bit extra.
One of those famous people prisons or something like that.
No, I don't think that, but I think it's not so like what word do I want to use?
Gang affiliated and all that stuff.
Not only that, it probably gang affiliated too, but low security.
Low security.
Yeah, like they're not getting as much crimes going on there. There's not a lot of like people like that are
more for petty crimes. Maybe they put.
I wouldn't even say
there.
Petty crime because he didn't get a petty crime, but they're giving them more. What word do I want to use?
Leeway?
They give them a little bit more leeway. Yeah,
they do.
Yeah,
for whatever reason.
I've never heard of a car show in a jail like that.
You never heard of that?
No.
Okay, I never heard of that either. I never heard of women and men being together.
Now it's another first. That was another like it looks like that a little park day.
Yeah, because you could. I mean, shit.
I think I saw the people in the back smoking and drinking and shit. I'm like, where are we at right now?
You think anybody clapped any cheeks?
Bro, I would have tried.
I bet you they did.
I would have tried. I bet someone did. I bet someone did.
Someone's been locked up for like several years. They finally link up with a couple chicks at a car show.
Like it was like that's a little bit more lax, right?
Yeah,
that's the word. It's more like lax. Like they're not so like, hey, you guys can do if you guys go do A, B, and C. Like so, I want to do some more research when the next one is.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Cain's a fucking. He looks happy though. He looks okay. He's with the Serenos.
Yeah, I mean he it looks like he's doing his time, right?
Yeah.
So, but he may have like another 6 months to get out that bitch.
Yeah, I saw a lot of people being like, "Ain't nobody fucking with Cain." It's like, yeah, obviously, bro. And I saw other people saying like that brown pride tattoo, probably like they loving him. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but I mean, it's already when you go to prison and shit, like, and it's so segregated between races.
It's like you're Mexican, you're Mexican.
Well, yeah, off top,
regardless of the tattoos.
Yeah, the only other problem you run into when you go to prison is people from Mexico, and people from like the United States. There's the biggest beef.
Oh, okay.
It's like you could be locked up with your uncle who's originally from Mexico, and you guys can't talk. You
Why?
Can be like, because it's two different gangs.
Really?
Oh yeah, 100%, 100%.
So like something along the lines of like an MS-13, like Mexican can't be cool with like a blood Mexican.
So like in there, you're gonna have more like New Mexican Mafia.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You're gonna have like the MS, like, and you're gonna have like people from actually Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hard line you don't pass. Now, like if it was like against whites or against blacks, you could maybe combine on that, but internally, no.
Wow.
Yeah,
Interesting.
yeah,
I didn't know that one.
yeah.
So well, then
And God forbid go to and don't get locked up in Mexico and be from the United States. Oh,
yeah.
oof.
Now, speaking of jail and stuff like that, I'm not going to spoil it, but let me just get this one off the top. So, had the interview with SD. I've dropped 2 clips so far. Anybody who's watching, go check those out. I'm front loading it, so I'm getting out all the headlines because here's my thing, right?
Front loading, okay.
Like I see how the game works. You know, I dropped that interview. Everybody's gonna be fucking clipping up my thing before I even get to it, right? I'm only a one-man show, so you boys don't get that from me. I'll clip it up. I'll post out the segments, and then I'll post the full interview on Sunday after I get all of my headlines out, and then you guys can get your headlines out.
So because if you drop it, people will clip it before you get to clip it.
Before I clip it, and then it's old news by the time I clip it.
Got you.
You know what I mean? So full interviews dropping on Sunday, but I will say something that hasn't been released yet. They had SD on 23-1 lockdown for 3 fucking weeks.
Oof, that sucks.
I didn't ask him how that affected him mentally. Although I will say he seemed very clear-headed in the interview. Spoke well. No signs of like trauma from spending 3 weeks.
To you, bro. Joe will do that to you.
Or I was thinking 3 weeks of 23-1, you might have like a little schizo behavior because the brain damage from that shit.
Yeah, I mean,
SD didn't have any of that. I just want to say that.
It's interesting when you talk to people that've been into jail. Their perspective is like, it is what it is, because you deal with it. You know what I mean? Like, especially people like spend long periods of time in jail. You know, they're used to that lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
You learn how to acclimate. Could I acclimate it to it? Probably not. I wouldn't want to. I've been in jail before. Yeah, I've never been locked down like that, but it's more power to him though.
Yeah. So shout out to SD. Tap into the interview. The last thing I'll say is that well, actually, it's kind of cool. So through the Buckley interview, I had talked to him about SD. Buckley gave advice to SD. Mm-hmm. SD saw that clip, right? So then when we were doing the interview, he was able to like react to it. So I just thought that was cool that like SD's tapping into my videos.
What's kind of next for him? Did the UFC cut him or where?
Yeah, so the UFC hasn't cut him. He can still fight. Yeah, so if you have more questions, ask me, but I'll answer this one. He could still fight. He's not really looking to get something going like immediately because he's got all this stuff hanging over his head. You know what I mean?
A lot of stuff you got to clear up.
Right, but he's still signed with the UFC. He can fight, but he would just maybe like to have a couple months to settle down first and get back into the swing of things so that he can start fully training once they offer him.
And he's still on probation or what?
He's got an ankle monitor. So I'm assuming on probation, yeah.
I wonder how that would work. Like, do you have to go into the fight with the ankle monitor?
I know, right? That would be interesting.
That would be interesting.
There's probably an appeal or something you can do.
Maybe.
That'd be crazy, though.
He had kicked somebody like, hey, bro, hey, the probation officer said I couldn't take it off.
Yeah, facts. So, yeah, I mean, that's an update for SD. I don't want to spoil the whole thing, so there's more I could say, but I'm just kind of keeping it low key. But if you have any questions, I'll answer them for you.
Well, what I saw were some of like kind of what you had dropped, like, hey, the cops presented a picture of A, B, and C, and got a bunch of charges on me, and painted this picture, and that's gonna happen, right? Especially with law enforcement, and they're gonna try to throw as many things at you. The bad thing for SD is that he has so many other times that he's been in jail that the public will always prosecute you, will always, put you on the cross and not look at all the
backstory.
all the gray areas. It's not, life isn't black and white.
100%.
When you told me kind of what you had thought the picture was, and it's kind of seemed like that's kind of what happened. I forgot, what was the whole thing about him being in the cage?
So he basically hid.
Okay, so which what you were saying?
Yeah.
I don't know about being in the cage. Like, did he put himself in the cage?
It's not like so he just saw the cops coming, and it was, I mean, I guess I'm spoiling shit, but I don't really care. He was cool about it. I was like, yo, like, tell me what the fuck happened with that fucking dog crate incident. Like, is that true, or you want to like clarify that? He's like, nah, that shit happened, bro. Like, I saw the cops. I'm fucking scared of those motherfuckers. Like, I'm hiding. Like, I don't give a fuck. And
Yeah.
I
I
was like,
wonder
all
how
right.
big that crate is because you're not a small dude.
I wish I asked him if he closed it or opened it though.
Uh,
Like if he
uh,
got in it, did he close it or was it like open?
yeah, when you're running when you're running from the cops and shit, you're just reacting, right? You're not. I'm not thinking 100% logically,
No.
but I think the public perception will always be, especially when you have so many other arrests, they're just gonna throw you under the bus, right?
Right, because you could just go back to that. Even if you're innocent here, it's like, yeah, but all this other stuff, like, fuck him.
Yeah.
And I see
Yeah.
that in the comments.
Yeah, 100%, and that goes back to what I was saying earlier. Like, I finally, in the first time in my MMA journalism career here,
Hmm.
is now have been able to see MMA fans for a lot of shade. So I guess it just comes with the territory. I guess that's any sports, NBA, NFL, especially when it's online. Anybody could throw shade online.
Hmm.
It's gonna come with the territory.
I'm glad you said that because the MMA fans, you know what I mean? Like, you could let it get to you, right? But to be honest with you, that's just how they are. You
Yeah.
know, I like that you said that because there's two ways you can go about it, right? I think that guys like Bo Nickel, he's kind of struggling with it. He sees all the hate and he doesn't know what to do. He's out here like trolling them, calling them stupid, you know what I mean, and drunks, because he's trying to like make himself feel better because he's almost taking their comments so seriously and so offensively. For me, it's a part of the game. I get comments too. You're a dumbass, you know what I mean? Who's Jacob Castro? That shit, I mean, I've been doing this for a while. You don't think that shit kind of like in a way could get to me? But
Yeah,
it's about how you view things.
The little like jab.
Yeah, like, okay, on a lot of those posts, right? I've had multiple comments. Who's Jacob Castro? But you notice I still keep captioning it that. Because at the end of the day, you will know me eventually. And sure, you don't know me now, and sure, you're trolling me now. But am I going to call you dumb and start insulting you? No, I'm just going to leave you be. I don't want to lose a fan. You know what I mean?
This is a good segue. Think about the success MMA Guru is having right now.
Mm-hmm. Built off a lot of hate. Remember, you saw that clip, right? Where he said, I wasn't used to getting attention, and a lot of the attention I got was negative at first. But now they love him. He has a cult following.
And so, the social media and people that can drop comments, you have to have very thick skin, right?
Definitely.
You literally have to not take anything personal because it's from a person that you've never gonna meet.
Mm-hmm.
Why would their opinion really matter to you anyway?
Right.
If you have that perspective and that insight, you can kind of go about it and kind of like, you ever heard that expression, be like a duck, like let water just roll off you?
Yeah.
You got to be like that, right? Because they're giving you the attention as you keep going and dropping other content. You're already forgetting about that. And I'm in the same boat as you. Like, there's been plenty of moments I'm like, what?
It like hurts your feelings for a second, but you got to remind yourself, like, don't let that shit get to you.
Like,
you know what I mean?
What? Like, what? Who the fuck you talking to, bro?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know who the fuck you talking to, dog?
Yeah.
Like, hey, hold up.
Tell me you're casual without telling me you're casual. All kinds
Yeah.
of shit.
Yeah, and so I'm gonna start bringing this up a lot more on the podcast too. As
Mhm.
I've been following this. I think I sent you a clip. He's a kung fu master.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you about him on Saturday.
You didn't even send me a clip, but I saw you posted something about some kung fu master.
I think I sent it to your personal one, but
Okay.
but when I first saw the clip, I didn't know who he was. I thought he was some Asian guy.
Mm-hmm.
That was very insightful. The more research I did on who he is, his name's Shi Hang Lee. He's a kung fu master. I was like, oh, this dude fucking has earned that title. You know what I mean? Like that motherfucker like actually went to fucking like took 100 lashes and shit and said, what's up? Let's go again.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's built different,
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly even what kung fu masters had to go through to become a kung fu master. But I didn't even realize how MMA is related. They're in the same vein. And so they were talking to him about hate, and he goes, basically he goes, with social media, it's energy. Some are going to love you, some are going to hate you. You have to have the balance. Mm-hmm. So of course, the people that are going to love you, you're going to get the people that hate you.
Mm-hmm.
But as long as you can inspire and, keep growing forward and keep pushing forward, why would it bother you? Why would it affect you? Someone you've never met. I was like,
yeah.
I'm gonna clip that motherfucker every day. Preach, bro.
And let me add to that. And almost like put a stamp on that point, right? I'll answer your question, and that's going to put a stamp on it. You asked, right? Why would you let that kind of like affect you? The only reason why you will let that affect you, free game, is if you are making your points to please the audience. If you are going against how you truly feel in your heart, right? And you're going for the point that is the majority of people who are voicing that in the comments. That makes sense to you? If you're doing that, then of course your feelings are going to be hurt, because the whole intention behind voicing the point was to get praised by the MMA fans. For me, I have a point, and the MMA fans don't come into factor whatsoever. My point is my point, and I'm going to stand on it. And I know there's going to be people who agree with me, and there's going to be people who disagree with me. And that's just part of the game. If there's only people agreeing with you, to be honest with you, you're probably doing something wrong.
100%.
And honestly, when you do things to appease people, more free game. When your intention is to just appease people and not ruffle any feathers, guess what? You're going to get no views. Ain't nobody going to comment. Is that what you want? You don't want to ruffle any feathers, right? Okay, don't get any comments then.
100%.
Enjoy that.
100%.
Meanwhile, I get a comment just for people saying, who's Jacob Castro? You feel me?
This was, I was going to write down. The other thing that he said, the more you grow, the more shine you get. With shine comes shadows. That's the hate. I started thinking about that. He goes, think about it like each one is a shine. Each new follower, each new person that comments, each new hater, more lights being shined, but that's gonna have a glow. That's gonna have a shadow.
Yeah.
And that's gonna match it. So if you have a million shines, you're gonna have a million shadows. I was like, that's a great way to look at it. It's a great way to look at it. It's just gonna come with the territory. And peace with that.
Right. I think it's all about perspective. And something else. This is something I've almost lived my life by. I used to tell my mom this. She used to think I was kind of crazy for saying stuff like this. But because you talk about hate and positivity, right? Every person who supports you, you're probably going to have a hater. You know what I mean? But think about it like this. Energy never goes anywhere, right? Energy is like a constant motion. It doesn't go anywhere. It doesn't disappear. So what takes more it's a little bit of a deep thought. I'm going to preface this with saying that. It's a deep thought. But what takes more energy? Being a hater or being a supporter?
Definitely a hater.
Right. So that takes more energy. I just said energy doesn't go anywhere, right? It doesn't go anywhere. That same energy that they used to hate gets recycled into you. And actually, it's more beneficial, in my opinion, than the positivity. Because the positivity, you're getting that energy too, but that was less energy. You get more energy from a person who hates on you. You feel me?
I see what you're saying. You're absorbing more.
Let's say, simply put, you get 5 energy points, right? For somebody who supports you. You probably get 7 to 10 energy points for somebody who hates on you. And my example, MMA Guru. He was built off the hate, right? Nobody wanted him to win. Everybody says, stop talking about this guy. You're never going to make it. Look what happened to him. Yeah. People weren't supporting him, being like, oh my God, you're the best thing that's ever happened to MMA. We never seen anything like you. You're going to make it, when he had no followers.
Yeah.
You know?
I even remember last year, I think Sean O'Malley was one of the first to kind of come up and speak up for him. That had a big platform. And throwing respect his way and like doing all the hard work and shit. And like where a lot of people were like more hating on him. Because I mean, MMA Guru does have some like crazy takes.
Definitely.
You know, some takes some takes I definitely don't agree with, you know what I mean? But that's what it takes, especially in the entertainment industry. You need to have that edge to where love me or hate me, I built a following. Where now it's undeniable. Evidently, one of the greatest of all time is partnering up with him because he sees the benefit of working with him, you know, and if they have a good, I'm interested to see what the show comes out to be, honestly.
I think it'll be a good show.
Oh, I hope.
Am I going to tune in? I don't know. To be honest,
I'll tune in. I'll tune it in.
Okay.
I don't know how religiously, but that's what I mean. I'm gonna give it a shot, a watch.
Right. Yeah, and I'll even say this, right? This is me being honest, because everybody's hated once in their life, right?
Yeah.
I feel like in the times where I've hated, if I were to look at it in like a broad spectrum, a lot of people that I hated on, hating is just another thing for like wishing they don't succeed, right? So when the people who I've hated on in the past, or I've caught myself kind of like hating on them, bro, when I check back like a month later, they're doing better than the last month I checked on them. And I do think that's because I hated on them. And I do think that for me too. I believe that when people hate on me and don't want me to succeed, then when they check back on me in a month, my numbers are going to be bigger. It's like the way the world works. I don't know how to explain it. Like I said, with the energy, it's probably my best way of explaining it. You know what I mean? But anybody who hates on you, just think in your mind, okay, when they check, this is how I think. If you hate on me, I say this, okay, check back on me in a week. I'm going to be bigger than when you last hated on me. And keep hating on me because I'm going to be bigger, you know, the next time you check on me.
Yeah, it's crazy for me. Like usually, like it's very high motivation for me. It's very, okay.
Yeah, come back and see.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And that might be another way of like, when people are supportive of you, that's really nice and it does motivate too, right? I just think that's maybe where that energy comes into place. That hate, fucking, it's enough to drive someone
fucking driver
through a roof. Time. Yeah. And like an ex-girlfriend breakup, I don't think there's anything fucking that tops it more.
Being fired?
Shit like that, right?
Yeah, so like people tell you can't do it. People, you can't do it. Like you can't do it. Like, all right, fucker, I'm gonna show you. It's interesting talking about.
Because you can't be right now. You can't be right. I gotta be right.
It was interesting. I saw that post you did about Sean O'Malley.
Which one? About 37 times them asking him the same goddamn question. Right.
But and I told you this last time. Can we talk a little bit about UFC 316?
Sure.
So for me, looking at him, and I told you this plenty of times, and even about fighters, not just Sean O'Malley. I don't want to see all this social media shit. I want to see you laser focused. I want to see you dedicated. I want to see you wanting to succeed at this craft so badly that everything's put aside. And that's what I'm seeing from Sean right now. I love seeing the boring Sean in the fucking press conference. I know it's not good for media people because you're not going to get the juice. And usually Sean O'Malley gives you a lot of juice. Yeah. Sean O'Malley's always been that guy, very bashful, very cocky, very like, hey, look at me, gives you a lot of sound bites. In this instance, where we're getting a very dull Sean O'Malley. But for me, that means he's focused.
I like it too. I want to put that out there.
Yeah, no, and because I want to see the end result. I want to see what a fired up Sean O'Malley does in that ring versus Merab. I want to see him go in there and knock him the fuck out. Not that I don't like Merab. Merab's definitely grown on me. I have nothing but respect for him. But I want to see a laser focused, angry Sean O'Malley in that ring.
And that's
the fight.
Yeah, and that's what we're going to see. And that's why, in my opinion, it's all about authenticity. Because I share the same sentiment as you. I've been watching him. Sure, he's not as entertaining as usual, but I'm intrigued in this fight because I believe what I've seen from Sean, he's back in his bag. You know what I mean? He's back focused the way he was before he won the title, trying to manifest this shit. You know what I mean? Trying to be on top, trying to have himself mastered before he goes in the cage, right? And that's what I believe is going to happen. I believe by the time he walks into that cage on Saturday, he's mastered himself, which is a huge thing for fighters, right? If you haven't mastered yourself going into a fight, then it's going to be even harder for you. And that's where like the no jerking comes into play. That's where the no social media comes into play. And think about it. If you are doing that kind of weak stuff and your opponent's not, think about it. After you're done fapping, right? Then you're like, fuck, Merab didn't do that shit. That can play on a person. So I like that he doesn't have that in his head at all. It's nothing where Merab didn't do that, and I am. You know what I mean? It's like, nah, I've checked every box I can imagine. Not just going and running, not just fucking training, but all those other things, lifestyle. I respect it.
Oh, I respect it 100%. Think about this. Before Michael Jordan won and before Kobe won, they lost. But it ate at them so fucking much, bro. Like it gave them a burning hole inside them that the motivation was so clear, the laser focus and the hyper focus was so clear for that target. They were so angry and determined. They used all that energy that you just talked about to complete one job.
I
beat
love
that person. To beat that person. Bro, they couldn't even let it go. If anybody out there, if you've never watched the Michael Jordan Hall of Fame speech and you want to be motivated, go watch the Michael Jordan.
I've never seen it. I'm going to go watch that.
Bro, what's so crazy is Jordan is one of the greatest of all time. He's there at his Hall of Fame speech, and he's going down to like the nano person that took his job in college, and he remembers, and he's calling him out, and that fueled the fire for him to go be the greatest. He remembered when he lost the Eastern Conference Finals, And all summer, all he thought about was beating that guy.
Mm-hmm.
And it just fueled him. And in this instance, I hope Sean O'Malley has such a burning desire in him to beat Merab because it's eating at him because he wants to be the greatest of all time. Because that's what happened before. He was being almost put on a throne that he didn't deserve yet.
Mm-hmm.
He was being compared to Conor McGregor. And he didn't deserve all of that yet. Was he dynamic? Yeah. Was he really good? Yeah. And then look at him, the loss, you know? And so I want to see an angry, focused, hungry Sean O'Malley in there.
Mm-hmm.
He's back against the wall. That first fucking bell when it rings. I want him to demolish him, bro.
Yeah.
I want him to fucking demolish him. And
I'll
not in
say-
a disrespectful way.
Yeah, I'll say you're spitting. You're spitting. I agree with most of everything you're saying, so I'm gonna let that stand. And all I can really say is that, hey, I'm. It's not like I'm over here like I hope O'Malley wins or anything like that. I'll say this. I think that win or lose, right? You got the best Sean O'Malley, and I'm okay with that. You know what I mean? Because I think if we got the best Sean O'Malley, win or lose, his next fight even, you just build off of this, right? So it's all good. But what I don't like to see is when a fighter crashes out after a loss, steps in the octagon, takes another L. Now I'm like worried about your third fight. But Sean, he's locked in for this one. I believe win, lose, or draw. He's corrected the mistakes he had to make. And if Merab beats him, so be it. He's the better man. But that doesn't mean that Sean can't beat the other 90% of the division still. I just want to put that out there. He's not washed.
Oh, no, not at all. And I think this. I want to also see a coach in a training camp that said, okay, this is where you beat us. Let's think about this. Did Sean O'Malley get gassed in that fight?
I don't think so.
No, he went all 5 rounds with them.
Yeah.
Honestly, he kind of picked it up a little bit in the 4th and 5th.
Mm-hmm.
People were saying he may have got the 4th and 5th, and he lost the first 3.
Yeah.
People were kind of going back on that 4th, being like, even Sean was like, when he was watching, like, oh, I think I got the 1st, I think I got the 3rd, I think I got the 5th.
Mm-hmm. Sean
So I can see how, and I can see in his eyes, you know what I mean? I even went back and watched it. I was like, all right, I can see that, right? But he didn't get a knockout, so he wasn't able to get the finish. He was getting taken down more. I want to see what JDM and how he popped back up. How he said, no, let's stand back up on the feet. I want to see a Sean O'Malley learn like that.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to fight Merab, beat him at his own game then.
Yeah.
If you want to be the greatest of all time, if you want to be the greatest bantamweight and you want to move up, do that. And that's why JDM impressed me.
Mm-hmm.
Because JDM said, okay, I'm going to beat you on the feet. I'm going to stand there with you. And Bilal was still giving it to him. I got to respect what Bilal did. But he popped back up twice in that 5th round to steal that 5th and to fucking become champion. And that's what I want. Because we know he's going to get taken down. And honestly, I'll tell you, I'm predicting 3rd round KO. Sean O'Malley knocks him the fuck out.
Okay. I have a sneaky suspicion about just a weird, one of those Sean O'Malley performances, you know what I mean, that we've seen time and time again. I do have a sneaky suspicion. I'm going to throw that out there. Also, what's it called? What were you just saying about, you were saying something else?
About Sean O'Malley or JDM?
Sean O'Malley and popping up and all that stuff. Oh, I want to say this.
I want to see the takedown defense. I want to see that added to your arsenal.
I think he will. I think it will be there. That's what I wanted to say. I think it will be there. I've been seeing him training. He's been wearing wrestling shoes, even in sparring, which is just a good sign that like he's all about the grappling right now, all about wrestling. So I think that's gonna happen, and just a little bit of like maybe proof that he's evolved in the past. When he lost to Chito Vera from getting that leg kick,
I remember, yeah.
From that point forward to his next fight, his leg kick defense improved tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
So Sean is like a guy where he really can evolve. And I don't say that about much fighters, right? I haven't really said that about anybody. I am saying that about Sean. I've always believed that Sean is a guy who really can evolve and be elite at fighting. Even if he doesn't show the best in one fight, for example, the last fight, I believe that Sean does have the potential to put in enough work in this time span that he's been through to be able to close that gap on Merab. I do believe that because I've seen Sean do it before with the leg kicks. And now you can barely leg kick Sean. Watch all of his fights. It's very hard to leg kick that guy. He's like a master of leg kicks. So here's my other point to put it in simple terms. When Sean dedicates himself to master something, he doesn't just become 70% at it. he becomes like a 99 if we're playing Madden. You ever play Madden?
Worse.
You can only go up to 99, right?
I hope you guys are Madden.
All right, there you go. I love Madden. When I get a PlayStation, we got to play. But that's why I'm saying 99, because he can level himself up to 99. What's his striking? It's basically a 99.
Yeah.
His leg kick defense, in my opinion, is like a 99. So based off of history with Sean O'Malley, when he dedicates his mind to something, he becomes very good at it. I'm expecting him to really show a night and day difference in this fight. Also, this is the other point I want to bring up, because you were saying how he couldn't pop up and all this stuff, right? The other X factor, which this is just what he says, and I'm just going to report what he says. I'm not going to judge it. He had that labrum tear in his groin.
Yeah. And I can put that into the equation.
Yeah, so if you're healed, it will be easier to pop up this time, plus the extra training. Let's just put all that out there for him. So yeah.
Yeah, no, I think too, so kind of going back, if we were to look at cardio versus cardio, I give a slight edge to Merab, but like Sean O'Malley did not fold because of cardio.
Right, and no point in that fight was Merab really backing down Sean because he was tired, right?
Right.
So I think it's almost even. Like cardio won't even be an issue in this fight.
But I think most people will say Merab, that he has an engine that just don't stop. That's why he's the machine. I get that. I honestly get that. But I think Sean O'Malley proved something to me that he can go 5 rounds with them. That he's not going to get tired. He can go back. Then we look at the striking. I would definitely give Sean O'Malley the edge on striking. And then I look at the grappling. So I'm going to edge Merab, but I like what you said. I want to see a cleaner Sean O'Malley close the gap.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas he's not holding him down. He's popping back up. He's getting back on the feet because he keeps doing that, and he makes it a stand-up war. And if I were Sean O'Malley, I would try to get him Merab's head during the fight. Like I would be like I would like try to test his manhood, like make him like what word do I want to use? Like bait him. I'd want to bait him to fight me.
I like it.
Like a psychological warfare inside the cage that
Diaz style.
That none of us can hear.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to get him Merab's head. I don't think no one's been able to do that. And to rock Merab a couple times, and like, bro, I got power. Watch the fuck out.
Yeah.
To make Merab think twice, like, ooh, that's what I really want to see. So
something along the lines of like Merab misses a punch, right? And then O'Malley hits him with this. Something like that, right? Those kinds of mind games in the fight. Slip a punch. Damn, he missed that shit by a mile. You know what I mean? Yeah. That will get him Merab's head. And listen, I've said this, if you remember, that's why Merab beat Umar. I believe that Merab beat Umar also on the scorecards alone without showboating. But I believe it was so much more clear that you couldn't even fucking fathom giving it to Umar because of how much Merab showboated on Umar and just like won over the crowd. The perception, the public perception was like Merab won.
Yeah.
Same as like the Ryan Garcia Devin Haney fight. Like it was a lot closer than people thought, but the showmanship took it to that like that Ryan won.
And here's the other thing to add to this. You got to change the narrative too with this. You got to go up 2-1 going into the fourth. You cannot be down 0-3 going into the fourth round.
Mm-hmm.
I see a lot of these guys going into the fourth round and being like, now I got to knock them out.
Mm-hmm.
But play that game within the game as well. Still the first one. Start off strong. Going in the second one, maybe if you able to give him 1-1, win the third one.
Mm-hmm.
That's a game within the game.
Right. No, I'm with you, and I'm sure that's his intention too.
That's me playing Madden with you and giving you the ball back, giving you the ball first because I wanted a halftime.
Right. Shit like that.
I'm gonna stop you. And you're gonna get a field goal, but I'm gonna get a score on the next one, and I'm gonna go up when we get the ball back at halftime. Now I'm up 14-3.
So Sean should be thinking like that too, right? I mean, you probably want to win every round. But you definitely want to put an emphasis on starting strong.
Gotta start strong.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta start strong. The other thing I was gonna say is, I see a lot of people shitting on the card. I said this before and I'll say it again. I think people are spoiled in the UFC. I looked at the card. I'm here for 2 championship fights. I want to see what Patchy Mix does. Is that his name, Patchy Mix?
Mm-hmm.
Coming from another organization, and I didn't realize he's 20-1. I didn't realize what his record was with the guys he fought. I honestly think he beats Mario Batista. This is the first time I'm going to take a fighter outside the UFC to say in his first fight, I didn't bet on RDR. There was another guy that came into the organization. Who was the other guy? Oh, was it Kaya Sakura?
Yes.
I mean, they put him against the fire though.
Yeah, they did.
No, it wasn't Kaya Sakura. It was maybe no, it is Kaya Sakura.
Kaya Sakura came in and
yeah, but I think this kid may have it.
Yeah.
I think he's battle tested. I think that Mario Batista is a good matchup, and that's a good bantamweight fight right there. The Vicente Luque versus Kevin Holland. I like that fight as well.
I like it too.
I think.
I'm just looking at the card to see if there's anything to hate on, and there's not really.
Did you see Kevin Holland throw shade at the Jackson podcast today?
Yeah. Shout out to Kevin. But stay on topic. Finish this one off first.
We said they owe me $2,000.
Okay. Bro, I don't. He's making him look bad. I cannot believe.
Well, let's do another side topic on this. All right.
Okay, yeah. Let's hold this topic. Bring it back up.
Kevin Holland. We've said this before. Who am I gonna get today? He said it today. I don't care. He even said it. He doubled down. I don't care about winning a belt. I want the money. Fine. Kevin Vicente Luque, I believe, has more to lose in this fight, and that's why he's hungrier. I'm giving Luque the edge on this because I think he's more focused. I kind of thought about what you said before. He's had some bad breaks, bad timing, but he's still got some more juice left. There's still some more. If you had a towel and you need to squeeze it, you still got fucking a couple more squeezes in him, bro. He doesn't want to get out of that top 15. I honestly think he's gonna submit Kevin Holland.
Okay. I'll go opposite on you with that one. And my biggest thing, like I was saying, right, is yeah.
That's funny that you're going opposite because you've sold me before on Vicente Luque.
Right. But I will say that I think because of with Vicente and Themba, we had different takes. But I just got to stay consistent with Kevin, and I've always said about Kevin, and it's truly how I feel in my heart. He's the best at 170. And so I really believe in 170 Kevin Holland. I really believe in 170 Kevin Holland. 185.
What, didn't he lose to get out of there and then he went back up?
No. I mean, he might have lost a couple fights, but it's just because he wants to be active and he doesn't want to cut weight.
Right.
So my thing is, I believe in 170 Kevin Holland. I do. So I'm gonna go with Kevin Holland on that one.
I can't trust him. And
because you said this is why you said you go. What Kevin Holland are we gonna get? I don't ask that question when Kevin's at 170. When Kevin's at 185, I don't trust him. I wouldn't leave him with my kid if I had a kid. You know what I mean? Kevin ain't getting left with my fucking kid at 185. But 170, Kev? Hey, Kev, I'm about to go to the store real quick. Can you watch my kid? You know what I mean? It's way different. 170 Kev is another beast.
Yeah, he lost to JDM.
Right.
And then he beat Chise, but he's on his way out. Then he lost to Page, Michael Venom Page, but I think that's when he moved back up. No, did he fight Michael Venom Page at 170?
185, I believe, or was it at 170? It might have been 170 because MVP. Up. Yeah, it was 170.
So he lost to JDM and he lost to MVP, and then he moved up, and then he got a couple wins, and then he lost to Gunner. And the Gunner thing doesn't impress me. That fight, that win does not impress me at all.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm not weighing that one in. If you think, my decision on Kevin Holland, I didn't even think about the Gunnar Nelson fight. So I guess I'm with you. It's not like I'm carrying that one into this one being like, oh, he's a new man because he beat Gunnar Nelson. No, that was a win, but I just believe in 170 Kev.
See, and I believed in a more hungry Vicente Luque.
Okay, we'll see.
We will, and that's why they're gonna fight, right?
Yeah,
that's exactly why they're gonna fight. That's why I like this fight. And then the prelim fight is, I had it on the tip of my tongue.
Well, you got a hot prelim fight? I'm looking. There ain't no hot prelim fights.
Hold on.
Unless you're talking about Chaos Williams.
No, Bruno Silva versus Joshua Van, number 12 versus number 14. I'm in for that. I'm all in for that, bro.
Bruno Silva's 4-3-1 in the UFC.
I'm a big Joshua Van fighter.
I fuck with Van.
You know, they're two ranked fighters. Anytime they're ranked fighters, I'm here for it.
Okay.
Anytime.
You're a man of the X's and O's.
I really am. And then
I even commented that.
You got Ozmat at number 12, light heavyweight versus Ribeiro. Ribeiro is decent. He's trying to get into the ranking. But he's plus 455. So Ozmat's, he's probably gonna get it. And then you got Spivak versus Waldo Costa. I like those fights too. Those are two ranked fighters in the heavyweight division. Now, if this was
But you can't just go off the rankings. Just because a number gets put to your name, you're just like interested.
Yeah, because there's more on the line. There's something there compared to two guys.
Yeah, but what if you're a boring fighter? What's on like?
But we get to see one move up or one move down.
So that really just draws you in?
Hell yeah, it draws me in. Because if Spivak if Spivak, let's say, knocks out Acosta, now we're moving up.
I mean, I guess I don't see. I'm having a hard time, but I'm gonna let you have your take.
The chaos.
I can't agree, but I'm gonna let you get it out there.
Okay, the Chaos Williams fight. I'm past Chaos Williams, and then
because he's not ranked.
Just because I've seen the past 2 or 3 fights.
But if he had a number next to his name that changes everything for you, you're not past him then.
If he had been on a win streak. So he lost to Bonfim. I just know he's not going to go in the top 20 conversation. That's where I'm at with Chaos Williams.
Okay, but do you ever factor in like a guy who just like knocks people the fuck out or just comes to fight? Or like that doesn't matter to you? You're more like, are you ranked or are you not ranked?
Why are you ranked or are you not ranked?
100%. Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
And are you in the conversation to get into that conversation?
Yeah, but people who aren't ranked kind of get into that. So that's why you don't like a Nate Diaz shit. And that's why somebody commented somebody commented on our video and they're like, they said what I'm saying, which is we're selling a fight. But because you were like, what are we doing with that, right?
Right.
And then they commented like, well, we're selling a fight. Conor versus Nate would sell, which is what I said. And then I commented back. I said, like I just told you, MTK is a man of the X's and O's. Like I be trying to tell him, but he likes the X's and O's too much. There's nothing I can do.
Well, it's just because there's nothing. What's on the line? For the fight fans, for us to see someone have a good fight.
Yeah.
I guess.
Because just because you're ranked doesn't mean it's a good fight.
And the other thing, those two guys are on the way out. That even drops another layer for me.
I guess, but to the point, it's like just because you are ranked doesn't make it a good fight. Would you agree or disagree?
Disagree.
You think just because you're a ranked fighter, it's going to be a guaranteed good fight?
Okay, maybe not guaranteed good fight, but there's something on the line.
Right, but I'm talking about if it's going to be a good fight or not.
No, because I've seen two ranked fighters be very boring.
Be very boring. So that's my thing. That's why I'm like I don't just give you the automatic cosign because you're ranked.
Okay,
you gotta fucking like be a good fighter.
Okay, but I'll say this. So yeah, automatic cosign, no.
Okay.
But if I'm paying for a pay-per-view fight, and you're ranked and you're on the main card, and all the fights are ranked fighters, yes, that's a good card. They're not just giving me two guys that are kind of on the rise that we kind of don't know, but we kind of do know. One was in the Dana White Contender Series, and he just got a contract, so we're going to put him here. We're going to put him up against a guy that kind of is a veteran but could be on the way out, so let's feed him here and see where they matched out. But neither are ranked. No. Vicente Luque's ranked. Kevin Holland's trying to get in there. We know what Kevin Holland do. Kevin Holland beats Vicente. He could be a top 14 by Tuesday. Right?
Kevin Holland beats Vicente. I mean, you're definitely stealing whatever ranking he has.
Right. But let's say he knocks him out. That's automatic in.
Yeah.
If it goes to a decision,
well, you're still stealing the ranking.
Maybe, but maybe Vicente moves out and they put Randy Brown in
for not fighting. So Randy Brown moves up. Okay.
But yeah, okay. So Kevin Holland steals that spot, and
he's moving up regardless. Yeah. If he wins.
So. And just because of his career,
right?
His spot, he deserves that, right?
Okay.
And so then they give him Brian Battle. And Brian Battle wins, and he gets a 15th spot, and Kevin Holland's back out.
Okay. Now those are fair points. I'm actually like I almost forgot my counter, I guess you could say, because you're making decent points. But I would just open this one other aspect, which is the pay-per-view business. Sometimes there's a non-ranked fighter who's just got a crazy fan base. For example, like a Bo Nickel.
Okay. Okay.
And I guess you were kind of saying like, but then you're just gonna give a Bo Nickel like a fucking crap fighter and prop him up on the pay-per-view card. And am I really here for that too? No. You know what I mean? But if a Nate Diaz, right, were to come in and fight somebody who ain't ranked, I mean, that takes precedent over everybody on this main card right here, including Kevin Holland, including Kelvin Gastelum versus Joe Pyfer, including Patchy Mix, Mario Bautista.
I agree with that.
So that's where like the
there's a silver lining, right? I completely agree with that, because as a base, as a fan base, you put those two guys together, you're gonna get more buys.
Yeah,
that I agree with. If I was an organization and I was throwing an event myself, and I had the opportunity to say, okay, well, we can put Connor and Nate on here, we probably sell like 100,000 more. All right, let's run that bitch.
Right.
Put them on.
I like that we talk about this though, because it's like two camps that I notice are like kind of like in the sport right now. There's like the you who is kind of like X's and O's, and then there's like me who's like in this like, I almost got to call it like a fairy tale land where I just make shit up as I go. And it's like, it don't matter about rankings, it don't matter about what anybody says, it matters about what you can create in the public perception. And I think a lot of people are on my side too, and I think a lot of people are on your side, where it's like, listen, we got ranked fighters here, you know what I mean? I'm excited for this one.
Okay, I'll give you an example. Gamrot just fought Klein. I said before walking in, oh, that's interesting. Gamrot's ranked number 7. He's fighting this guy Klein. I know he had a good record. And then I saw the John Atkins show prop up Gamrot today. And I was like, bro, what the fuck are you talking about? And I don't really clap back at John Anik and all of them. Do any of these, Luke, who's your boy? Luke Thomas? Your homie?
He's not my homie.
Yeah, that's your boy. That's your boy.
I don't agree with anything Luke Thomas says.
But anyway, so this is a stance I said. I was like, bro, what are you talking about? You're over here propping up Gamrot on that fucking decision win.
Honestly, I don't know what you're talking about, so help me out here.
Okay, so you know Gamrot fought, right?
Gamrot fought, but I didn't watch it, so you got to tell me everything.
In my opinion, in my eyes, a number 7 guy in the world just fought a guy that's not even number 15.
Okay.
Why did this guy get that shot? Okay, fine. Let's say maybe he shocks the world. He had some heavy hands, but Gamrot did enough to get to even maybe, let's say it. I think it was unanimous, but it could have been 2-1. At the end, Gamrot was gassing out. He was looking up at the clock. I'm like, bro, you're fucking fighting a non-fight ranked fighter, and you're not dominating him. You're not demolishing him. And then I see John Anik and them come out today praising Gamrot on a good fight. I'm like, A, you fought an unranked fighter. B, you didn't even finish him. You should have finished him. You're trying to you're number 7. You're trying to fight the Patty Plimblets of the world. You're trying to fight the Armins of the world. You're trying Dan Hooker. You know what I mean? Like for me, after watching that fight, you don't deserve any of that. Actually, you should drop in the rankings.
Okay. I mean, if you don't perform that well against an unranked opponent, I could see an argument for that. Yeah,
but so in that instance, right? It's almost they were trying to prop up a guy that had a nice win streak. I think it was like 18-1 or something. So let me ask you, if he beat Gamrot on Saturday, where does that guy go in?
Probably like 15, something like
right?
that.
So he pushes out Joe Alvarez. And when I probably think Joe Alvarez would have whooped his ass, and he would have whooped Gamrot's ass.
Joe Alvarez is a beast.
Well, Joe Alvarez is a beast, you know? So why wouldn't you give Joe Alvarez that shot? And I think Joe Alvarez had to put out a fire. So maybe that's why. But there's a lot of other guys that I never even heard of this kid Klein. Never even heard of him. Like, and now it's like, no, now I'm really not going to hear of you. And he had a couple moments, but he didn't steal the show for sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm going on a tangent now.
No, it's fine. You know, I ain't never. I'm like kind of a
MTK started.
No, I'm enjoying it. I don't know how to put this.
I was waiting for John Anik to clap back, but he didn't say nothing. He let me ghost him.
John Anik isn't a guy who I'm too high on. So.
No, I mean, of course I fuck with them. They're legends, right? I mean, they're.
I mean, why?
Well, I mean, they're very high in their craft and what they're doing. They're on ESPN. They're fucking doing UFC shows. They got their own podcast. So I mean, they're in the game.
Yeah, I guess, but you got Jon Anik like fucking announcing fake fights and shit like that. You got him fucking. He's got hair like me and you, but he chooses to be bald. Like, there's just some things there I can't really fully. Ever since the Leon Edwards thing, where he says like that's not the cloth for where he's cut. Anytime a fighter is behind 4 rounds going into the 5th, he's like, oh, maybe he could pull it off. Like, I don't know. Jon Anik's fucking like.
This is what they said. They said after a big win over the weekend, what should be next for Mateusz Gamrot? I said, whoa. I was at a big win. He didn't even beat a ranked fighter, and to be honest, he didn't dominate an unranked fighter, and didn't even get a finish. Mm-hmm. Just saying.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Honestly, I didn't watch it, so I'll take your word for it. But if that is how it happened, then your interpretation of what should happen is pretty spot on.
And my whole thing was where's the ranked fighter? That was why I was excited.
Yeah, but this is okay. This goes to what I've been telling you, right? And this is something I don't appreciate, which is. Who fought last weekend? Gamrot? So now he's a talking point? I guess, but not really. And this is my thing. This is where it's like I made a post about freaking death sentence, right, yesterday. Somebody said, I never thought I'd see the day where death sentence is getting posted in headlines. I commented back and said, it's a bigger headline than Torres Finney's fight announcement, which everybody posted. Like,
Asma.
People, that's why I have a hard time about like, just even I don't know how to put it. Like, I'm about what I like. You know what I mean? Just because you fought last weekend, like I've been saying in the past, doesn't mean I care to have you on for an interview. Doesn't mean you're worth talking about. You know what I mean? Do you create headlines, Mateusz Gamrot? No, you don't. So congrats on your win. See you later. We're moving on. You know what I mean? If you can't create attention for yourself, it's not. I don't think these MMA accounts know, including a guy like Jon Anik, how famous you're making these guys over nothing. How famous have all these MMA accounts made Torres Finney so far? They're posting him left and fucking right, and it's just like the bar is set so low for talking about guys, for the talking points. It's so low. You could shit, you know what I mean? Take a shit, and like Monday it's like, hey, like Mateusz Gamrot took a shit in the toilet. You know what I mean? Like even talking about Maycee Barber, you know, the whole she posts about her injury. Everybody reposts it. Mm-hmm. Maycee Barber doesn't do any interviews with anybody. Maycee Barber doesn't promote herself that much, other than relying on the UFC machine, other than like Ariel Helwani show. Like where does she fucking like take herself and promote herself to the point where we all need to post about her and talk about her? Because all you guys are making her famous.
Yeah, I didn't even know who she was until this weekend.
But now everybody posts her. And think about this. This is where it really bothers me, and this is where the disingenuousness comes from, is you're all reposting her because you're cult-like UFC fans. But Caleb Plant, right? And I know you might not know Caleb Plant, but to the majority of combat sports fans, they do. Caleb Plant just fought last week, and he's a 10 times bigger star. He's a bigger star than 90% of the UFC roster. Jermall Charlo fought last week, and he's a bigger star than 90% of the UFC roster. But, right, because these guys love the UFC, they're going to ignore boxing. They don't pay attention to star power. You know what I mean? Stars are what rules this sport. It's not the UFC. Like, who's the biggest star performing this weekend? Tell me who the biggest star performing this weekend is, and that's who your headline should be on your social media page. I get it if you're just an MMA page. I get it. That's fine. But you're shooting yourself in the foot because now you're forced to post fucking Maycee Barber instead of posting that people really care about. You know? And so it's a little bit of a weave that I did because of what your point was, but you know how Jon Anik's talking about a guy who didn't perform that well. I hate like, why are people talking about Maycee Barber when Caleb Plant fought last weekend? Okay, sure, you got hurt, sure, all good, like, okay, but did you see me post that shit? Mm-mm. No. Mm-mm. I don't need to. Yeah, Maycee got injured, and okay, it already got covered, but you don't bring. Here's the thing, you don't benefit my page, Maycee Barber. You don't take time to make headlines, Maycee Barber. So let me tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to post the fighter who does that. Or I'm going to post the fighter who goes out and knocks people out. You know what I mean?
Maycee Barber was the one that got injured, right?
Mm-hmm.
Supposedly. I don't know what the fuck happened. That is almost... from that alone...
Shout out Just Jew. He's commenting... let me just say this real quick. Gamrot needs to focus on being exciting and build a brand. I thought Gamrot would have improved his striking after that Hooker fight. Some fighters think it's just all about winning. Carry on, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, just
He agrees with you.
Yeah, well, just to add on Gamera, it's like I expected so much more from him. Yeah, he got the one, he eased out, but it wasn't ranked. But yeah, I won't harp on it. But Maycee Barber, to me, she's almost going to become old news really fast, though.
And so she's old news, right? But so why is everybody posting about her? Do you see my point? Like, because she's hot today, because she was a main event, because UFC put her there.
It's interesting that you say that hot today, because what she's being hot for is bad. It's a bad way to look. What happened was a bad look for her personally and professionally, but it's news because of how it happened. I think that's really what it was. It's how it happened, because when was the last time you ever saw a fight get canceled? The main fight, right before she was about to walk out, they're about to call her name, and then it goes to Laura Sanek and what's her name? Laura Sanko? Laura Sanko, the other white dude, and DC.
Brandon Fitzgerald.
The white boy, the white homie.
Yeah.
Hunter Brandon. And I mean, it was, everybody was like, whoa, like I can't name a time I've ever heard that, you know?
Yeah.
Just disappointed. So that's to me is the bigger story. And then people want to kind of go to her mental health, and then the other fighter, you know, talking about like, you know, I knew this was going to happen. So to me, it just was a bad look all around. She's going to be old news real quick. If we think about it a year from now, she probably won't be in the top 15 anymore.
Yeah. So, I mean, shout out to Maycee Barber. I don't got much to say. You know what I mean?
I wouldn't even give her a shout out.
Yeah.
I mean,
all right, let me rescind that shit. No shout out Maycee Barber.
Like, they said that she was in a seizure. She said that she blacked out. Like, okay, like,
yeah.
Maybe you shouldn't be fighting then.
Yeah. Maybe
this isn't the industry for you. Anyway, so going into your favorite subject, you're gonna love this. A homie of mine and shit. Him and I go way back, watch UFC fights. We used to be roommates, and we start talking about the card. You know, he's kind of pumped like I am, and he goes, "Look, I'm not sexist, but you know, that's how we started out. We started talking about the co-main. I was like, he goes, but I'll watch these two.
Yeah,
I'll watch these two. And he's like you, bro. Like if it's a women's fight, he's probably not gonna like it.
Yeah.
It was just funny the way he prefaced it. Like, listen, I'm not sexist though.
And he's kind of a casual fan, right?
No, he's a big fan, but
he's a big fan.
He's just not into the girls fighting though. Like that's not gonna pump him up. You know what I mean? But he's like, this one, I want to see what happens here. And I'm in the same boat. They've been propping up Kayla Harrison.
Music to my ears. You just made my day. I could have just passed, like, took a nap. I could just knocked out for like 3 hours after you said that. That's how much peace you just brought me.
Clip that motherfucker, bro. But you know, she's heavy favorite right now. Heavy favorite.
I think she's gonna lose. Can I put that out there?
I think she's gonna lose too. I'll put that out there too.
And I know her weight. I know what she weighs right now. I'm about to tell you.
What does she weigh?
Fucking 8 pounds. 8 pounds more than Juliana. 151, and she got to cut down to 135. Even.
That's not too bad. This is 16 pounds.
Yeah, but let me give you an example, right? The majority of the fighters right now are only about, like, Juliana's got 11 or less than 10 pounds to cut. So right. Juliana 143.7, Kayla Harrison 151.8. So that's what, 35 plus or subtracted from 51 is 16.8 pounds, right? Let's see how much weight Joe Pyfer has to cut. Joe Pyfer got to cut 15 pounds. Holy shit. Kelvin Gastelum's going to miss weight.
Oh, he's at 220?
201. He got to come down to 170.
You know, that's his biggest pet peeve, too.
Oh, wait. Bro. I think they're fighting at 185. So Pyfer must not have weighed in. They just defaulted to him at 185. So I think Kelvin's fine. That's my bad. I misspoke.
You know Kevin be having a problem with that. But anyway, let me just kind of finish on this.
Go ahead.
With Kayla Julia Pena, in this fight, Kayla is heavy favorite. But honestly, she didn't impress me in her last fight. She did get the win. She got a decision. But I look at this like the Tatiana Suarez fight. Tatiana was heavily favored versus Wei Ling.
Yeah.
Heavily favored. Wei Ling fucking dominated her.
Dominated.
Like, everybody thought Wei Ling, Tatiana was going to take it to the ground and ground and pound. She was favored. I kind of see this the same way. I think that they're not putting respect on Pena's name, and we're gonna see levels. We're gonna see different levels of competitors here, and Julia Pena is gonna retain that belt.
Yeah. Here's what I'm going into the fight. I hate that I'm giving it attention, but to be honest with you, if I'm always real, right? So I be hating on the women's fights. This is the best one. So make of that what it is. You know what I mean? I ain't trying to hate here. This is the best one. So I'm giving you a take on it, even though I don't really want to. But I'm gonna do it. So number one for me, the weight cut, right? I mean, Kayla is just gonna be a fraction of herself in that fight. You're talking about 5 rounds, and if you didn't factor this in, Kayla weighed in at 136 her last fight. This fight, she has to weigh in 135.0. 0.1 over that, you ain't getting that title even if you win. So you have to make championship weight, and you got to go an extra 2 rounds, right? So I mean, that's a double whammy. On top of that, she's a year older or 6 months older than when she last fought. It ain't getting any easier for her. So that's my biggest thing is like the weight cut, the 5 rounds. I mean, whatever Kayla has as a skill advantage because she's an Olympic gold medalist, right? Just put it down to even, bro. Because like whatever advantage she had, she's taken it away from herself by cutting all this weight. I promise you.
Yeah, it's interesting hearing today on media day. Like as a person, she grew on me. I respect her as a person. I loved everything she was saying, everything she was talking about, everything she's been through. I think that the UFC gets these people to come in from other organizations. This will be an example, and they definitely have been trying to prop her up. And if she would have came out of this last one and dominated and not make it go to a decision, I may have a whole different opinion on where we're standing right now. But the fact that she had to go, she couldn't get a finish, and she had to go into that 3rd round. To me, it's like, okay, maybe you weren't as good as everybody thought. You know, I like to see finishes, and especially if they're gonna prop you up and say you're the next best thing, and you're gonna be the new champion, and you're gonna beat the Lioness Amanda Nunes. I want to see nothing but finish. Even in this fight, if you're gonna go in there and prop it up, then dominate Julia Pena. Dominate her. I don't see it happening too, because I think what you said, I think it's going to be a big factor. You're going to go in there having such a hard time to cut the weight. It takes away from you. Takes away from your strength, your mental capabilities, and going in. Even Julia Pena said it today. Going into that 4th and 5th round, I want to see where she's at, because I don't think she's going to be there.
No,
I see that too.
So we'll see what happens. Also, the last thing I'll say is that I think the trash talk alone is it's funny too, because Kayla always acts like this alpha male, right? She never shuts up, except for when she's around Juliana. She's like, oh, I'm too mature to like argue and this and that. But like when you're inside ATT in every video I see, you're literally trying to like outshine the males. You want to be the team captain where there's males in the gym. But like Juliana Pena, you got. I mean, where's that energy? You can't keep up, especially because Juliana's speaking facts.
Juliana, you got a little mouth on her.
She got a mouth on her. Did you? Yeah. I mean, I didn't even watch the ESPN like online press conference they did with each other, but I saw a couple clips, and like Kayla's just like doesn't know what to say. Even after they hung up, right? Like after they hung up, they kept the cameras on a little bit, and it was like Juliana's like, "See you in a week, honey," like to herself, right? Just like in her own thing, like, "See you in a week, honey," something like that. And then Kayla was like, oh. I don't know what her problem is. It's like, what do you mean? This is a fight. What you mean what her problem is? You're coming to take her fucking belt. But now you're going to play a victim? See, this is the thing. When people start playing a victim role, you know something's up. So I'm just going to put that out there. But I don't want to talk about Kayla too much because she doesn't give us views, even though everybody wants to make it seem like that. So we'll move on past Kayla. All right? Let's just move on past Kayla.
What about your boy Joe Pfeiffer? Where are you on that one?
You know, Joe Pfeiffer, I recognize the topic. He don't give us no views either, though. He's another one of those guys. So should we talk about Joe Pfeiffer?
Okay, so if you put him into Bo Nickel, who really got fraud checked? Bo Nickel or Joe Pfeiffer? Because Joe Pfeiffer, he was another.
I agree with Joe. Bo Nickel got fraud checked more than him. Joe lost a decision
to Jack Hermanson, which I thought Joe did a really good job in those first 2 rounds, and he lost the last 3 rounds. He went up against a gritty vet that knew how to find another gear in rounds 3, 4, and 5.
Right.
Here in versus Kevin Gastelum, Kevin's not a. My thing is the weight cut with Kevin sometimes. Like, am I going to get a focused Kevin to kind of come in here?
Mm-hmm.
Is he's not a chump. It's a veteran versus a rising star.
Yeah.
Who's gonna fold? Well, I mean, I guess I am interested. Like, who? How do you see it?
I see it for Pfeiffer. I do.
You're gonna give it to the youngster.
I'm
He's
gonna
not
give it to
young,
the
but I mean, you're gonna
youngster.
give it to the guy that's a rising star.
Yeah, I just think that like Kelvin has just been so undisciplined throughout a lot of his UFC career. I was a big believer in Kelvin in his early days, but I'm kind of like way past Kelvin now. I guess you could say I'm looking past him, you know.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy because if you think about the guys that he's fought, I mean, he's fought the best of the best, you know?
Yeah, but he's also been here for so long, so.
He just beat Rodriguez. He lost to Sean Brady. That was his last loss with Sean Brady. He beat Chris Curtis. That's a good win.
No, yeah, he always beats like good guys. It's crazy.
He fought Forrest Whitaker. He fought Jared Cannonier.
I mean, shit.
Like,
Kelvin Gastelum almost beat Izzy. Let's not forget that.
Right.
But he's past that, I think.
Yeah, and so that's why this is interesting because.
But this is one of those fights for Kelvin, though. Like those names you just mentioned, where you thought that Chris Curtis probably would beat Kelvin on paper, right? The other guy you just named, D-Rod, probably would beat Kelvin on paper. This is another one of those fights where it's like, sure, like on paper, it looks like it's a toss-up for Joe Pyfer, and like I'm kind of biting into it. But now that you're kind of breaking it down, it's like, shit, like this is one of those textbook Kelvin Gastelum wins right here.
It is. It's like, does he have just a little bit more juice to squeeze?
Because
he have like
Joe's not that top level that like Kelvin's already beat.
Like he's like an ultimate gatekeeper.
Mm-hmm.
You beat him, you get to go to the dance. You know what I mean? And that kind of pushes you even out even more. Like he's like, if I were to pick him or Neil Magny as a gatekeeper, I'd probably edge over Kevin at this moment.
Okay, if Joe loses to Kelvin, he will become, what's that word that he was saying, comparing himself to a fraud check? That'll be a fraud check. You lose to Kelvin, that's a fraud check. Because it just proves, like, if you can't beat Kelvin, you can't beat the top championship level guys because Kelvin's past that. So I guess we got a fraud check coming. That's why you gotta watch your words sometimes. You can manifest shit.
And I heard that he had a Mexican waiter at his hotel, so he better watch out, bro.
Kelvin? Or what's his name? Joe. He got a Mexican server or something like that?
Yeah, at his hotel, like, you know, like room service.
Okay. Interesting.
So, very interesting, bro, because you don't want to get sick. You already said you don't like Mexicans.
So, I mean, shout out to Joe Piper, shout out to Kelvin.
No burritos on Friday, dog.
Let me see this, though. Let me just go over something real quick, which is the card, see if there's anybody else to talk about. You know, we talked about Kevin. Patchy makes Mario. We already kind of touched on it. It's all good. We'll talk about it after the result.
So who do you got, Mario or Patchy?
I'm thinking Patchy's probably going to pull it off. I just haven't really watched him fight because he's in these other organizations. I know Mario is very good. It's one of those ones where I'm just kind of like, I'll be able to have more. It's like I got to watch this fight to develop a strong opinion about one or the other. Yeah. So once I see this fight, I'll be able to be like, okay, this guy's about it. This guy's not about it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I want to watch it. That's exactly. And
I'm excited for that one. I like that one.
Yeah. And it was going to be versus Marlon Vera too. And it's interesting. At first I was like, Marlon Vera versus Mario Batista. All right. I get it. And I'll watch it. But now it intrigues me a little bit more because I get to see a guy from another organization to see where did his skills really match up versus a guy in a ranking in the UFC. Mm-hmm. So that's what intrigues me about it.
So we'll see. I want to touch on one other one, which is I think. Okay. It's actually an important one, and I didn't mention it to you. So you're gonna just be completely blindsided by this one, but Nick Diaz, the older brother. There's been some issues.
Okay.
So remember how we last checked and he was in rehab?
He was in rehab, right?
Right. Yeah. So there's issues with that. And I have a bunch of screenshots from his ex-girlfriend or his girlfriend. I don't know who. So basically it says like there's, you know, Wendy Williams.
See, there's screenshots from Nate Diaz's ex-girlfriend.
Story. She's basically saying that Nick is not in a good place in this rehab. Do you know Wendy Williams? Have you heard anything about what's been happening to her?
Wendy Williams,
she's like a TV celebrity, host? Like almost like an Oprah.
Talk show host?
Yeah.
The black lady?
Yeah, she's like an Oprah, a Dr. Phil type character.
Yeah,
like,
I know
you know, like Tuesday Morning. I don't know what the fuck the name of the shows are.
Yeah.
so she's been in some like assisted living home, right? And she like
Okay.
what they do is she's been complaining like she's been stripped of everything so that like she can't even leave the room, she can't do this, she can't do that, and like these people just have control over her. They like medicate her and shit.
Wendy Williams.
Wendy Williams. There's been videos of her and like basically she's been on the phone with TMZ, okay,
Okay.
doing an interview from the top of her building from her window because she can't do anything.
Like she's a prisoner.
She's a prisoner of this rehab. Because I
Okay.
guess when you go into these places, you almost sign over your life rights because, again, it's like that thing where I'm drugged. I can't, it's like that thing where I got these issues and I have to give you some type of control over me because I almost can't control myself.
Okay.
So they almost like sign over their life rights or something. That's a preface. I'm going to read you what she's been saying about Nick now.
All
I
right.
contacted
Nick or Nate?
Nick,
Nick. Okay.
the one who's been dealing with the shit, the older brother.
one. Right.
I contacted BBJ, I don't know who that is, and told him that I heard Nick was being abused and he's against his will. It's cut off, so some of the words I can't read, etc. Drugged and forced to stare at the wall. BJ told me that they had to drug him for their own safety because of psychosis and size and the fact that he is Nick Diaz, basically saying he's a former fighter. It was vital that they get his mental health managed before they could treat the addiction. So again, this is what I'm trying to say, where they use excuses to medicate you. So apparently they're saying like, we have to drug you because we're afraid you're going to go into psychosis, and also you're a big guy and you're a former fighter. Mm-hmm. So that was their excuse to drug him. Do you see what I'm trying to say here? Mm-hmm. So carrying on with this comment she put, his cousin visits him every day and decides who Nick can have visit and all that. Again, kind of fishy because your cousin is making decisions on your behalf. That's what I'm trying to tell you. When they come into these places, they sign over their life rights.
Okay.
Carrying on. He promised to look into the house allegations and make sure Nick is getting to train, etc. for mental health. The UFC and Nate have been funding his treatment, and the UFC was going to talk to BJ to go down to Mexico and work with him. He asked me if I wanted to go and teach him yoga, etc. But he wanted me to pay my own way, and I was in the middle of my court case with so-and-so. Then it goes, my old roommate was in rehab in Mexico with him, and when blank mom signed him out, Nick asked to contact me and tell me that he's needed me to rescue him, and that he was being held against his will and didn't like it there. Blank told me that Nick had escaped once, but the federales brought him back, and that we needed to come up with $1,000 to pay them off and get him out of Mexico. Blank said they were drugging him, and Nick hated it.
The fuck?
I got my girlfriend calling me. It could be something serious.
All right.
Let me just answer this real quick. My bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got the old lady checking in. Hope everything's all right. I will say this. Perry Punch be finding some crazy stories. He be finding some crazy stories. Like he found me the BJ story. I don't even know about this Nick Diaz stories. Gotta text somebody too.
Okay.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. So the last thing is okay. So if Nick is okay, why am I sitting here wondering, even in jail you're allowed letters and contact? I want to know what meds they have Nick on and not turning my man into a fucking zombie. He's in another country locked up. I have been through everything with Nick. His 2-level cervical disc replacement, the most in his life. Why am I now no contact? I'm not an addict. I don't do drugs. I don't have the Diaz last name. So okay, his cousin doesn't either. Who put him in charge? Nick hasn't even seen that guy in 10 years. How would he know what life is like for us? I am Nick's family. I spent every day together for the last 6 years. We had Christmas, Thanksgiving, life together on park benches freezing, at the dinner on a snowy day. Shut the F up. The most I know is Nick has been estranged from his family for the most part of our entire relationship.
Bro, where are you finding this?
I got spies.
Someone screenshotted you a text message?
Somebody messaged me first thing in the morning yesterday, informing me of what's going on with Nick Diaz and told me to go look at his girlfriend's Instagram. I did. I screenshotted all of it. I'm the only one who knows about it.
Wendy Williams?
This is some Wendy Williams type shit that Nick Diaz is
No, but
apparently
I'm
going
saying,
through.
no. Okay, was that Wendy Williams that said this, or is this his girlfriend saying this?
That's his girlfriend saying that.
Oh, I thought that was Wendy Williams saying all of this. Okay.
No, I'm saying Wendy Williams isn't in a situation like Nick, where she's got put into a care home because she was mentally unstable or she's old or something. She signed away her life rights, and I'm just giving you a comparison because that's what Nick is going through.
So his ex-girlfriend is saying all this.
Let me simple it down. Yeah, his ex-girlfriend is saying she's not allowed to contact him. His cousin, who he hasn't seen in 10 years, is making all the decisions on his behalf. He's not allowed to leave to work out like she was told he was, meaning go do train martial arts. Mm-hmm. They're drugging him to control him. So, he's been estranged from his family for the most part of their relationship, which makes sense why him and his brother aren't, like, you know what I mean, super close. Like everybody wants to make it seem like they are.
Yeah. Yeah. And so he's been in rehab for what, like 3 months now?
About 3 months.
Was it court ordered?
No, it's not court ordered. It was like the family signed. I think. Well, what she said, Nate Diaz and the UFC are paying for Nick to be in rehab.
Okay, so here's the thing. 90% of the time, you as the patient, if you're not court ordered, you can leave. There's not a law enforcement that's forcing you, or a judge that's forcing you to stay there, that you have to, like. Go ahead.
Okay, I think I hear what you're saying, but I think there might be something where you have to sign over control so that they can make executive decisions in places like this.
Okay. So then the next tier is, if you're saying that the UFC is paying the bill, because the first moment you stop paying the bill, boom, you're getting kicked the fuck out. Because a lot of times when people are in that position, two things can happen. You say, I don't want to stay here anymore. They cannot keep you. Unless you're a threat to yourself, and you have a doctor say that this person is a 5150. He can't make decisions for himself, or a judge comes in and says he can't make decisions for himself anymore. 1, 2, if you're not covering the cost of this is a money bit. This is about money. The minute you miss a bill, bro, you out. Bye. We're bringing someone in because it's a business. So that's I'm more interested now. Well, why is the UFC paying for him? If he's being like held there without his own, if they're abusing him, that's a fucking huge problem.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I think that's.
What do you think?
Well, I think that's good context that you just added, because that is true, right? Like, if you don't make a payment and you're not court ordered there, then it's one of those things like, sorry, buddy, like, I don't care how much you're struggling, like, you didn't pay, so you're out. So that's kind of making me more curious, I guess. I don't know where to go from that, because in a way, like, why, I don't understand. I guess you could maybe pull him out of there.
Why? But why is his cousin, like, it's just weird. It's almost a BJ Penn thing. Like, why are these other people involved that are helping out, not making decisions? And now you're put in these situations where, like, people are trying to take advantage of you.
And, like, yeah.
Like, and you would think, why wouldn't his brother step in? Like, I thought they were close too. But, like, nah, bro, let me go check on my brother. Like, if something were to happen to my brother right now, I would want to go check on him. Like, bro, what the fuck is happening here? I fucking show up. Like, dude, what is happening? I want a fucking full diagnosis. I want to go see him, actually.
So
that's alarming.
It's alarming. I don't know. I honestly don't know where we can go other than how she explained it. I mean, the fact that she's put on no contact, it just seems really fishy.
Right.
But again,
this could be another ongoing story.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't think Nick has much money to steal. So that's what confused me too, is like, where are they? Let's say his cousin is estranged from him and he is in there for a fishy reason to try to get money. I don't think Nick has any money to take.
Right. Like, how can he really be taken advantage of? Because what is there to take advantage of?
So when I go to like that, it's like, well, nothing validates that. You feel me? Right. This person commented saying she also mentioned how he was broke, and Cesar Gracie, Nick's coach, stole $200K from him. Also says she has to work as a housekeeper so Nick doesn't have to work at Walmart when he gets out. So yeah, Nick doesn't have any money at all. He got stolen from,
Mm. You know, these stories of like athletes after the fact is like so sad, bro. The BJ Penn thing, I was just following some of his story, like some of his new videos and everything.
Hmm.
It makes me question, like, I don't know.
What does it make you question? Let's end it on this one. BJ Penn.
No, I mean, it just, look, BJ Penn, I saw the past two videos and he's like, you know, we're all the trolls now, you know, like giving some information and then questioning, like, that doesn't seem, he goes, where's the CTE? It's like, that doesn't seem like a crazy person would question, would preference questions like that.
Hmm.
And the posts are just so like, I don't know. It's like, it makes me swing now more towards BJ Penn. But then at the same time, we were reading that story on Saturday, but how the mom put the restraining order and then he jumped into his mom's house. And then that's why the original reason why they called the cops.
Hmm.
But then the video was saying, well, like, hey, you know, if it's abuse, that we can put him in jail. And now was that video of someone else that was in the house and they caught them like on candid camera talking about how they could arrest BJ?
I think. Yeah, I think.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because the way the angle is, it's like in front of the stairway. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I heard that, and they're saying something about abuse, and like we can charge him for that,
Because
right?
the only way we could possibly swing for an abuse is if Guvala gets him to assault a police officer. So it's like someone in that camera angle was talking about like, hey, the police can arrest him if he does this.
Hmm.
And then he's showing the light outside, and I don't know, bro. That shit's crazy. And he does it. He didn't go to court, right? And he's saying that he got sick.
He
But then
claimed he had COVID.
COVID.
Then he showed up to court, and then they said like it's not a good excuse. There was a warrant for his arrest. They arrested him again. He bonded out again, and then he did show up to court finally with a mask on.
Okay, that's the picture that he goes. Enemy of the state, not guilty. State of Hawaii versus BJ Penn.
So he was found not guilty.
This is what's crazy. Is his caption? Love is the answer. Hashtag Hawaii. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with that.
It's like, he seems so righteous in it.
It's so the story is so crazy.
Yeah. I want to see where.
And then the post was that is like BJ Penn's IQ test. This is BJ Penn posting this. What is the difference between a Democrat and a leftist? Answer on the next page. Like, these are thought out posts.
Hmm.
Where's all the CTE and brain damage propaganda? Trolls, bots, or bots?
Hmm.
Question mark, money, hashtag Hawaii. I mean, I can't think of fucking captions like that.
Yeah. Let me show you this one too. Hector Lombard, former UFC fighter. I just gotta play it for you.
BJ is a smart dude.
Oh, I saw that one, but yeah, play it.
He can talk about history. He can talk about science. He can talk about that dude. That dude was ahead of the game before even conditioning was around in MMA. Let that sink. That dude was around striking when everybody tried to grapple. He was ahead of the game. He was rich. He got a website already. He already had a website like I don't know, like 20 years ago. 20 years ago, he was the first guy that came along with a website. He will do interviews. Check my website. I'll talk to you there. And you being fool, man. You being fool. BJ is a smarter operator. Now, to BJ. BJ! When you become a governor, don't forget about me.
Yeah.
The story is just a crazy saga, man.
It's crazy.
So he's out on bail now, or he doesn't have a warrant out for his arrest now? Is that the newest update?
I'm trying to find the news article. I'm trying to like fucking time search it. You know what I mean? To where like I can, but there's no time frame. All I've seen is like that thing where he's in court wearing the COVID mask, and then he put on his own caption, right, that he's found not guilty. So I think that's all I've seen.
Oh, he put the caption not guilty. All right.
Yeah, he put that, I think.
Okay, hold on.
But maybe he's just putting that because that's what they found in the thing. You know, they say you're not guilty.
Let's look at this up. I'm gonna do my own I'm gonna look up his court case.
Okay, yeah, look it up and let me know. But shout out to BJ. Like I've been telling you all along, I do believe that this is one of the craziest 2020s you might ever see.
2020s?
2020 documentary.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Yeah, this one's great. This is gonna be the dark side of the cage.
Yeah, it's like hopefully no murders happen.
Hopefully it doesn't get worse.
Yeah, but I do believe if I were to lean, here's what I gotta say, man. In this day and age, and this is like probably my most level-headed thought. No, no thumbnail here, no nothing. In this day and age, man, you can't tell me that something like what BJ is saying isn't possible. Have you ever seen those masks, like those fake masks people wear at night? And then like you could buy a Donald Trump mask, right? And people have put these on at night, and then they put a hood on, and like you can't even tell the difference.
I've not seen that. That's crazy.
So yeah, they have things like this, and so I just feel like that's where my biggest thing is like in this day and age, man. I just can't rule out what BJ's saying, no matter how crazy it sounds.
I agree. This is one of those scenarios. I don't know who to believe.
I don't know who to believe.
I want to, and I even see people say, like, can't we just take a DNA test? I think you and I said that a few weeks ago. Like, can we not just get to the root of this and just fucking find what's going on?
Yeah.
It's you know what is the crazy part of this is we're hearing so many different narratives.
Mm-hmm.
BJ Penn's narrative, you're hearing the mom's narrative, you're hearing the public perspective of narrative. You're hearing accounts narrative. You know, you hear like what you just said, like that guy backing, BJ Penn.
Mm-hmm.
There's too many things going on, and they're all different stories, so you can't piece them together.
Right.
So that's why it's so confusing. So, before we do get out of here, I was gonna say this. You sent me the post, what you said about Tom. Like, hey, just come out and just say it, and he came out and just said it.
That was wild, right? Shout out to Tom. He must have seen that video. Also, just to conclude about BJ, shoot, I might forget what I was gonna say.
His mom court narratives.
His mom court. Oh, I think I might have forgot it.
All right. Why don't you come back to get off?
Let me think real quick. Let me just try real quick. We're talking about if there's all these different stories, right, that people are saying. Oh, I think it was something about like.
You're not gonna get it.
I don't think I'm gonna get it. All right, that's the show, boys. That one's gonna bother me.
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap. That means we're brain dead. Okay, later, boys. Thanks for tuning in.